Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that tries to make complex stuff clear, giving you what you need to feel genuinely informed.
Yep.
Today, we are digging into something fascinating, maybe a bit frustrating to your own mind.
Hmm.
Ever wonder why you sometimes just leap to conclusions? Or why some ideas stick even when you know they're probably wrong?
Or why really smart people make, let's be honest, kind of dumb decisions
Yes,
sometimes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to unpack some surprising answers to all that. So, our main source for this deep dive is Daniel Kahneman's huge book, Thinking Fast and Slow.
It's a classic. Really changed the game.
Totally. It came out of this long partnership he had with Amos Tversky, and it basically reshaped how we understand judgment, decision making. I mean, he won a Nobel for it.
Right. It's a really profound look at how our brains actually tick. And our goal today, really, is to unpack how our brains make these decisions. It turns out we rely a lot on these, like, mental shortcuts. Super efficient most of the time.
It's not always right.
Exactly. They can lead to these predictable mistakes, biases
Yeah.
that affect everything.
Yeah.
Little choices, big life decisions, all of it.
So get ready to meet these like two different characters inside your head that are running the show. Okay, let's unpack this. All right, so the journey starts with these two systems in your brain, two ways of thinking. First one, system one.
Mm-hmm.
This is your gut feeling. Intuitive, automatic, effortless, often emotional, right? Super fast, barely conscious.
Think of it like your brain's reflex. It's built for quick judgments, routine stuff.
Like the classic example. You're walking, see something long and curvy in the grass.
And you jump back instantly, thinking snake.
Yeah, before you even really see it properly. That's system one, just trying to keep you safe.
Precisely. And then there's system two.
The other guy?
Right. This one's
For me.
slow, deliberate, effortful. It's your logical, analytical thinking. Conscious.
Okay, so that's when you're actually trying to figure something out.
Exactly. Like doing math in your head. 17 times 24. You can feel your brain working. You
Yeah.
have to focus, follow steps. That's system two kicking in. And the way they work together is key. System one is constantly generating these impressions, feelings, hunches.
And feeding them to system two.
Yeah. They're the main source for what system two actually believes and the choices it makes. Now, system two can step in and say, hang on a minute.
But it often doesn't.
Often it just goes along with system one's suggestion. It's more receptive than skeptical most of the time.
Okay, that's interesting. System one, the speed demon. System two, the careful planner. But you said system two takes effort. Can you, see that?
Oh, absolutely. There was research way back, Hess, and then Kahneman and Beatty.
Yeah.
They found your pupils actually show it.
Your pupils.
Yeah.
Seriously.
They get noticeably wider when you're doing hard mental work, like multiplying those numbers. Harder problem, wider pupils. It's a physical sign of strain.
Wow.
He talks about mental sprints, like these quick calculation tasks where effort peaks, you feel it, your pupils show it, versus mental strolls.
Like just chatting.
Exactly. Casual conversation takes almost no effort, pupils barely change. But when System 2 takes on a specific task set, like, say, count all the Fs on the stage.
Oh, yeah, that takes focus.
Right. Continuous effort. You feel that strain.
Okay, so we can literally see the brain working harder with system two, but if it's the logical one, why isn't it always correcting system one's crazy ideas? Why does it seem to slack off sometimes?
That's a great question. And Kahneman calls this the lazy controller aspect of System 2.
Lazy controller, I like that.
It really fits. System 2 is inherently, well, lazy. It prefers the easy path, which is usually just accepting what System 1 offers up.
Okay, give me an example.
The famous bat and ball puzzle. You've probably heard it. A bat and ball cost $1.10 total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much is the ball?
10 cents. That feels right.
See, that's the intuitive answer most people jump to. System 1 delivers it instantly.
But wait, if the ball is 10 cents, the bat is $1.10. That's $1.20 total. Okay.
Right. The correct answer is 5 cents for the ball, $1.05 for the bat. The fact that the 10-cent answer is so tempting and people don't check it.
Shows system two didn't bother to engage.
Exactly. It's a failure to invest even minimal effort. Kahneman calls it intellectual sloth, being happy with an answer that just feels right. Engaged minds, though, are more alert, more skeptical of those first intuitions.
So intelligence isn't just reasoning power.
It's also about knowing when to deploy that reasoning power, when to pay attention, and overcoming that laziness.
That lazy controller thing really clicks. It makes me think,
Hmm.
if System 2 gets tired easily, does all kinds of mental effort, like, drain the same battery? Because sometimes after a really tough meeting, I feel wiped out, even if it wasn't complex math or anything.
You're definitely onto something there. It's called ego depletion.
Ego depletion.
Yeah, researcher Roy Baumeister showed that all voluntary effort, cognitive, emotional control, even physical effort, seems to draw from one shared pool of mental energy.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah, like people who had to stifle their emotions while watching a movie. They later gave up faster on a physical stamina test.
Mm-hmm.
Or people who resisted eating cookies and had to eat radishes instead.
Okay.
They gave up much sooner on a tough cognitive puzzle afterwards. It depletes your motivation. You just don't feel like making an effort.
So it's not just being tired, it's losing the will to try.
Pretty much. Though if the incentive is strong enough, you can sometimes push through it. But it shows how connected it all is.
Yeah.
And you can see this conflict, this strain, really clearly in things like the Stroop effect.
The Stroop effect, what's that?
Okay, imagine you see words printed in different colors.
Yeah.
Like the word BLUE printed in red ink.
Right.
Your task is to name the color of the ink, not read the word.
Oh, that's hard. You automatically want to read BLUE.
Exactly. Your System 1 reads the word automatically. System 2 have to fight that impulse and say red. That conflict, that effort to override the automatic response, it slows you down. You feel the strain. It's System 1 and 2 battling it out.
Wow. Our brains are literally fighting themselves sometimes, and this
Make a
leads to illusions, right? Where
Yeah.
we know something isn't true, but we still see it that way.
Perfect example. The Mueller-Lyer illusion. Those two lines with the fins on the end.
Yeah, one looks longer.
Right.
Huh.
But they're actually the same length. You can measure them. Your System 2 knows they're identical.
But you still see one as longer.
Exactly. System 1 is still doing its thing, creating that impression. You can't just turn it off. You can learn to mistrust your impression in that specific situation, but you can't not see the illusion.
It's like your brain's playing tricks and knowing the trick doesn't stop it.
Precisely. And that's a fantastic bridge to understanding how these systems, especially System 1's shortcuts, lead to predictable errors, biases.
Okay, so let's get into those mind tricks, the biases. What's first?
Well, a big one is the representativeness heuristic.
Representativeness,
Meaning we judge how likely something is based on how much it represents, or matches, a stereotype we have in our heads. We often ignore the actual statistics, the base rates.
Okay, like the Steve example, the shy, tidy soul.
Exactly. Is Steve more likely a librarian or a farmer? Most people jump to librarian because the description fits the stereotype.
Right. Meek, toady, detail-oriented. Like, sounds like a librarian.
But they forget the crucial fact. There are way more male farmers than male librarians in the U.S. Like 20 times more.
Oh, so statistically.
Statistically, it's much more likely Steve is a farmer, even with that description. System 1 grabs the stereotype, it ignores the numbers.
And this gets really weird with the Linda problem, right?
Yes, the conjunction fallacy. Linda is described as outspoken, concerned with social justice. Is it more probable she's a bank teller or are a bank teller and active in the feminist movement?
People pick the second one, feminist bank teller.
Overwhelmingly. Even though logically, a single condition, bank teller, has to be more probable than two conditions combined, bank teller and a feminist.
But the description just fits the feminist stereotype so well.
That System 1 overrides logic. Representatives don't
That's
win.
nice.
Okay, another big shortcut. The availability heuristic.
Availability. Like, what's easily available in your memory.
Exactly. We judge how frequent or important something is based on how easily examples come to mind.
Okay.
Think about the letter K. Is it more common as the first letter of a word or the third?
I can think of lots of words, starting with K-king, kite, maybe first letter.
Most people say first because it's easier to recall words starting with K, but actually K appears much more often as the third letter in English words.
No way.
Yeah. And this affects bigger judgments, too. Think about news coverage. Dramatic, scary events get reported constantly, right? Plane crashes, shark attacks.
Oh, yeah. They're everywhere when they happen.
So they become very available in your mind,
Yeah.
making you overestimate how likely they are compared to, say, car accidents, which are far more common but less sensational.
That's the availability cascade.
Right. An idea gets repeated, becomes more available, seems more important, gets repeated more. It snowballs. And vivid images, like from terrorism coverage, can make us ignore the actual low probability neglect. What's easy to recall trumps the stats.
That makes so much sense. We just go with what pops into our head. What about the anchoring effect? That sounds intriguing.
It really is. Anchoring happens when you consider a particular value for something unknown before you estimate it. That first number, the anchor, pulls your estimate towards it, even if it's totally random.
Like how?
Kahneman and Tversky did this cool experiment with a wheel of fortune, but it was rigged to land on either 10 or 65.
Okay.
Then they asked people to estimate the percentage of African nations in the UN. Those who saw the wheel land on 10 guessed around 25%. Those who saw 65, they guessed around 45%.
Just from seeing a random number beforehand.
Yep. The anchor pulled their estimates way off. It happens constantly: house prices, salary negotiations, charity donations. Even asking about Gandhi's age influences estimates of when he died based on whether you anchored high or low.
Wow. And even experts fall for it, like real estate agents.
They did studies. Agents insisted they weren't influenced by the asking price anchor when evaluating a house, but they absolutely were, almost as much as students.
So in a negotiation, if someone throws out a crazy number,
Don't just counteroffer slightly. Kahneman suggests making a scene, rejecting the anchor outright, so it doesn't unconsciously pull you in. It's amazing how sticky those first numbers are. And related to how we form overall impressions is the halo effect.
halo effects. Like if you like one thing about someone, you assume everything else is good too.
Exactly. Or dislike. System 1 wants a simple, coherent story. If you find someone friendly, you might unconsciously assume they're also intelligent and generous, even if you have zero evidence for those other traits.
It fills in the gaps.
Perfectly put. It fills in the gaps to make the picture consistent. Kahneman even noticed it in his own grading. A good first essay made him view later weaker essays from the same student more favorably. The initial impression created a halo.
And this links to WISAID. What's that stand for again?
What you see is all there is, WISAID.
Okay. What you see is all there is.
It means System 1 builds the best possible story using only the information currently available. It doesn't stop to ask, wait, what am I missing?
So it jumps to conclusions based on limited data.
Precisely. You hear, she's intelligent and strong, and System 1 immediately thinks, good leader. It doesn't pause to consider if she might also be, say, cruel or corrupt. It works with what it's got and builds a confident story.
And the confidence comes from how coherent the story feels, not how much evidence there is.
Exactly. Less information often makes for a simpler, more coherent story, which can actually increase our confidence, paradoxically.
Wow. Okay, so we're building these quick confidence stories,
Hmm?
which must make it hard to deal with just randomness or statistics.
You nailed it. That brings us to cause versus statistics and regression to the mean. System 1 desperately wants to find causes for everything. It hates randomness.
Like the kidney cancer example, finding low rates in rural counties.
Right. People immediately jump to causal explanations. Oh, it must be the healthier rural lifestyle.
But the real reason was?
Just statistics.
Hmm.
Small populations naturally have more extreme results, both high and low, just due to random chance, sampling variability. There was no single cause.
Okay, I see. And regression to the mean. That flight instructor story is wild.
Isn't it? They praised good landings, saw worse ones after, shouted at bad landings, saw better ones after, so they concluded yelling works.
But it was just regression.
Yep. An exceptionally great landing is often part luck, so the next one is likely to be closer to average.
Right.
Worse. An exceptionally bad landing is often part bad luck, so the next one is likely to be closer to average. Better. The praise and yelling were irrelevant.
But that's so counterintuitive.
Totally. System 1 craves a cause and effect story. System 2 finds statistical thinking really hard work, even for experts. We prefer the simple story over the messy statistical reality. And speaking of what System 1 prefers, let's touch on cognitive ease.
Cognitive ease. Things feeling easy or difficult.
Kind of. Think of it like a background feeling. When things feel familiar, clear, effortless, that's cognitive ease. When things feel strained, complex, new, that's cognitive strain.
And ease makes us more likely to believe things.
Yes. Things feel true when they're easier to process. Repeat a statement often enough, even a false one, like a chicken's body temperature is 144 degrees, and people start finding it familiar, easier, truer.
So repetition works.
Absolutely. Also, things written in clearer font, rhyming sayings, woes unite foes, sounds wiser than sorrows bring allies together. Even names that are easy to pronounce, they all create cognitive ease and make us trust them more.
And our mood plays into this too.
Big time. Good mood, cognitive ease. You're more intuitive, creative,
Yeah.
but also sloppier, more likely to rely on System 1 and make errors. Bad mood, Cognitive strain. You're more vigilant, analytical, less intuitive,
Hmm.
but maybe less creative too.
Incredible. All these subtle things shaping our thoughts. So how does this all play out when we actually have to choose something, make a decision?
Now we get into the heart of Kahneman and Tversky's Nobel-winning work, prospect theory.
Okay, prospect theory. What's the core idea?
It describes how people actually make decisions when faced with risk and uncertainty, often violating the rules of pure rationality. And the central piece is loss aversion.
Loss aversion. We hate losing more than we like winning.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Much more. Psychologically, the pain of a loss is about twice as powerful as the pleasure of an equivalent gain. Losing $100 feels way worse than gaining $100 feels good.
You can really see that in the endowment effect, can't you?
Definitely. Give someone a simple coffee mug, then ask them how much they'd sell it for. They'll typically demand much more, maybe twice as much, as someone else would be willing to pay to buy that exact same mug.
Because once it's theirs, getting it up feels like a loss.
Precisely. It's endowed with value just by owning it. Interestingly, experienced market traders show less of this effect. They get used to parting with things.
So this loss aversion must mess with how we think about probabilities too, especially really small ones.
It does. Our handling of rare events and probability neglect is quirky. We tend to either ignore very low probabilities completely.
Or freak out about them.
Right. When we do pay attention to a rare event, we often overweight its probability dramatically. Think about the fear of flying versus driving. Statistically, driving is riskier for the miles traveled,
But plane crashes are so vivid, so scary when they happen.
that we overweight that tiny probability. Same with terrorism risk versus, say, dying from diabetes. We neglect the base rates and overweight the vivid, emotionally charged rare event.
Like that experiment with the urns, choosing the one with more red marbles, even if the odds are worse.
Yes, 8 red in 100 feels more compelling than 1 red in 10, even though 1 in 10 is a better probability. Temper faces 8%. The absolute number of winning marbles overrides the percentage. Vividness trumps probability. And this leads straight into framing effects. How you word a choice can completely change the decision people make, even if the underlying outcomes are identical.
The classic example is the Asian disease problem, right?
Exactly. Frame it as saving lives, and people become risk-averse. They prefer the sure thing, save 200 lives for sure. Frame the exact same scenario as people dying, and people become risk-seeking. They prefer the gamble, a chance that nobody dies, but a chance 600 die.
Just changing saved to lost flips the preference.
Completely. It shows our choices aren't based on objective reality, but on the description of reality. It happens with medical treatments, tax policies, even how we think about fuel efficiency.
The MPG illusion.
Yeah, thinking in miles per gallon is intuitive, but misleading for judging fuel savings compared to gallons per mile. It frames the problem poorly.
So understanding framing allows for nudging.
Right. Libertarian paternalism. Structuring choices, the choice architecture, to encourage better decisions without forbidding other options. Like making organ donation opt-out instead of opt-in dramatically increases donation rates. Setting better default pension plans, it leverages framing for good.
It's fascinating how much the presentation matters. Does this apply to how we think about our own money too, like budgeting?
Oh, absolutely. That's mental accounting. We treat money differently depending on where it came from or what we mentally assign it to.
Like the lost ticket example.
Perfect one. Scenario 1. You buy a $10 theater ticket, but lose it on the way. Do you buy another $10 ticket? Many people say no.
Because the play now feels like it costs $20.
Exactly. The loss is posted to the theater mental account. Scenario 2. You plan to buy a $10 ticket at the theater, but on the way you lose a $10 bill. Do you still buy the ticket? Most people say yes.
Because losing cash feels like it comes out of a general pot, not the specific play pot.
Precisely. It's the same $10 loss, but the mental account it's assigned to changes the decision. This also relates to the sunk cost fallacy, throwing good money after bad because you've already invested so much. Rational decisions should ignore sunk costs, but our mental accounts make that hard. Okay, so we've talked about how we think, the errors we make, how choices are framed. Now let's get to maybe the most profound idea. The difference between your experiencing self and your remembering self.
Experiencing versus remembering. Two different selves inside us.
In a way, yes. The experiencing self is the one living life moment by moment. It feels the pleasure, the pain, the boredom as it happens.
Okay, the one that's here now.
Right. But the remembering self is the storyteller. It's the one that looks back, evaluates experiences, keeps score, and makes decisions based on those memories. It decides what the story of your life is.
Whoa. So my memories aren't necessarily a perfect record of my experiences?
Far from it. The remembering self is highly selective. This leads to some bizarre findings, like duration neglect and the peak end rule.
Duration neglect. We ignore how long something lasted.
Largely, yes.
Yeah.
The remembering self cares much more about the peak intensity, good or bad, and the end of an experience than its total duration.
Like that cold water experiment.
Exactly. People held their hand in painfully cold water. Some had a shorter trial. Others had the same short trial plea I used, an extra bit at the end where the water was slightly less cold, but still unpleasant.
So the second trial was objectively longer and involved more total pain.
Correct.
Yeah.
But when asked which trial they'd prefer to repeat, people often chose the longer one
Why?
because the end was slightly less painful. The remembering self focused on the peak pain and the end pain and pretty much ignored the duration. A less awful ending made the whole memory better, even though the experience was longer.
That's crazy. So we remember the highlights and the ending, not the whole movie.
Pretty much. Think about a vacation. Why do we
Yeah.
take so many pictures? Often it's for the remembering self to construct the memory of a good time, sometimes even at the expense of the experiencing self's moment-to-moment enjoyment.
The amnesic vacation idea. Would you go on a great trip if you knew all memories would be erased afterwards?
Many people say no, which shows how much we prioritize the story, the memory that the remembering self keeps. And this disconnect between the two selves leads to miswanting.
Miswanting, wanting the wrong things.
Essentially, yes, making
Yeah.
bad choices because we're bad at predicting what will actually make our experiencing self happy in the future. We make errors in effective forecasting.
And this is tied to the focusing illusion.
Very strongly. The focusing illusion is Kahneman's great line. Nothing in life is as important as you think it is when you are thinking about it.
Meaning we focus on one aspect and blow it out of proportion.
Exactly. Like people thinking Californians must be much happier because of the weather. When you think about it, climate seems hugely important.
But studies show they aren't actually much happier overall.
Right. Because when you're living your life day to day, many other things matter more, and you adapt to the climate. We also mispredict the long-term happiness of lottery winners or people with disabilities. We focus intensely on that one change, forgetting that attention shifts and people adapt,
So we might chase things, like a fancy car.
thinking it will bring lasting joy because we focus on the initial excitement. But we might neglect things, like joining a club or spending time with friends, which provide less intense but more sustained boosts to well-being over time, because they don't create such a strong focusing illusion beforehand.
So bringing this all together, for a real picture of well-being, you need to consider both selves, the moment-to-moment feelings and the overall life story.
That seems to be the conclusion. Kahneman talks about a hybrid view. Your current mood, by the way, heavily influences how your remembering self rates your overall life satisfaction. Finding a dime on a copy machine right before being asked can temporarily boost your reported happiness.
Wow.
And the goals you set earlier in life can have a huge impact on how satisfied your remembering self feels later on, even if day-to-day experiences vary. So the big picture is, our minds are amazing, but they're definitely quirky. System 1 is fast but prone to error. System 2 is logical but lazy and easily biased. Organizations, interestingly, can sometimes do better than individuals at avoiding these errors
How so?
by using procedures that force slower, more deliberate thinking. Checklists, structured decision-making processes, even something called a premortem.
Pre-mortem, like assuming it failed before you start.
Exactly. Imagine the project is a disaster a year from now. Why did it fail? It encourages System 2 thinking to identify risks up front, counteracting System 1's optimism bias.
This has been, well, mind-opening. We've really seen the power and the pitfalls of these two ways of thinking, how biases creep in everywhere, from judging Ryan.
To ignoring crucial statistics in major decisions.
It really gives you a totally new way to think about your own thoughts.
And that's really Kahneman's key message, isn't it? Our intuition, System 1, is incredibly useful, but flawed. Our reflective thinking, System 2, is more reliable, but often doesn't show up for work.
Uh-huh.
Just being aware of these systems, these common biases, representativeness, availability, anchoring, loss aversion, all of them, that awareness is the absolutely essential first step to making better decisions, personally, professionally, everywhere.
You can't eliminate the biases, maybe, but you can recognize them.
You can learn to ask the right questions.
So, for everyone listening, you've got some incredible insights now into how your own mind operates behind the scenes. The next time you have that instant gut feeling or face a tricky choice, maybe pause and ask yourself, how much of what I see right now is really all there is?
And is my system 2 ready and willing to do the work to find out?